Hi guys, Allie Marie here with My Catholic Perspective. This past Sunday, I posted a video answering all the frequently asked questions about my recent diagnosis of my second brain tumor. And in the thread there, in the comments, Elizabeth Lucy posted saying, "Before I came back to the church, I knew that if my mom died and I didn't have a relationship with God, I would be lost and unable to cope with the loss. When she had her many surgical complications, that was the nudge I needed to go back to Mass." And she asked me, where would I be without a strong relationship with God? I really appreciate this video prompt because it did cause me to reflect a lot on how I'm handling this maybe a little bit differently than somebody would if they didn't have faith, if they didn't have, a church community around them, if they didn't have just that knowledge that God is watching over us, that I can trust Him, if something goes awry, if there are complications, what that looks like and what that would look like. So right now, coping with this, I definitely feel like a firm emotional foundation. Christ himself was emotional. We see that he wept. We see that he was sad. I don't see him smiling and laughing while he was being whipped and scourged at the pillar. He encountered massive suffering. He was tortured. His body endured massive trauma. And to know that, he's obviously the epitome of a crucifixion, but he wasn't the only one who was ever crucified, right? Like, there were two people on his sides that at the same time as him experienced nails go through their wrists. There are people who were alongside him in that, and he wasn't alone in his suffering. So now, given my state, I know that I'm not alone in my suffering. There are so many people out there that have brain tumors, that have terminal cancer, that have, all these complications, stuff I just can't even imagine having to deal with by myself. And God isn't a pie in the sky idea. He's not someone that I'm like, oh God, help me. And as Elizabeth mentions in hers, she said, I think too often people wait until after a tragedy to find their relationship with God, but people need help and encouragement to do it now before something happens. So part of that is, when we're in relationship with somebody, we want to be in that for the good and for the bad. My husband and I, if we were only in relationship when we were arguing, or, I noticed that he did something wrong or I did something wrong, and the only time we talked was to let the other person know when we did something wrong or when we needed help. If I was like, can you come clean this up? Can you come do this? And if I was just constantly asking for him for help, it wouldn't feel like a fulfilling relationship for us. We need those happy moments. We need that time at the dinner table where we just talk about our days, where we sit and we snuggle and watch a TV show or discuss what our aspirations are. And that's what that is with God. Like, if you run to him in a trauma, he is waiting with open arms. But if you're able to find him before that trauma happens, you can have those aspiring thoughts with him. You can share your hopes and dreams with him and share that in prayer. And meditate on them and ask him to help you bring them to fruition. Allow him to work through you to bring us his stability. Because, Christ, he would get justly mad. He flipped the tables at the temple, right? It was a just anger. I presume that when Mary and Joseph, they had gone up for Passover, right? When Jesus was 12 and he was at the temple. And when people would travel in those days, they'd travel in cohorts. So they'd all just travel in a group. And, it takes a village. So they just assumed Jesus was off with her cousin Elizabeth or off with whoever. And he was just traveling with them because that was what they did. And lo and behold, he wasn't there. After 3 days, they realized. Can you imagine, like right now, if a child was missing for 3 days, the parent would be suspect of something awful. But they just lost him. They were like, we don't know where he is. So they went back to Jerusalem. They made a wise choice and they said, well, we're going to go find him. And then they found him. And I assume that they had a just anger of, what are you thinking? You can't be off on your own. And at that point, he just said, well, where'd you expect me to be? I'm in my Father's house. but it says that he came back with them that day and lived under their roof in obedience. So we see these situations of just anger. We see these situations of some of the holiest people, of the holiest people that we are aware of, and it still exists. So there's definitely a time and a place to be emotionally responsive. But with the peace of Christ, with those fruits of the Spirit, the love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control, that is granted to us through a supernatural grace from God when we're in relationship with him through prayer, but also when we encounter him in the Eucharist, in the Catholic faith specifically. When we encounter him there and physically consume the body and blood of Christ, we are being transformed. I am being transformed into him. And that is something that I can't even explain. It is a supernatural experience. It is something that happens in a way that can't be put into words, because it is the mystery of God. It is how God works in mysterious ways. But the proof is in the pudding. The only way to actually know that, the only way to actually experience it, is to submerge yourself into it, to allow yourself to go into submission, to say, like, Christ was real. He died for me. He died on the cross. My suffering is his. I'm joining it to the cross. I'm not alone in my suffering. There are others suffering in the world alongside me. And I'm going to take this suffering. I'm going to dedicate it outside of myself. I'm going to, my headaches, I offer them for other people. My ear pain, I offer those for who are deaf, or, anything like that, people who are struggling. I do feel a supernatural peace about my suffering due to the Eucharist, due to my relationship with God. Like, it is nothing of myself. It's not like I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just the strong gal. I just have it in me to not worry, or, I have concerns. I shared that last time, but I don't sit and worry. I don't find myself in a corner, crying a lot. There are moments that I shed a tear or two here or there, and that's substantial for me. And that's through God. Without him, I would be in the corner probably crying, locking myself in my room. I would be there. I wouldn't know what to do. I'd probably be lashing out at my daughters more. I would probably want to escape. When I was 18, I couldn't do it anymore. Maybe I was 20. I couldn't do it anymore. I didn't have kids. I had 2 dogs. But I left. I lived out of my car for a month. I took my 2 little dogs with me. I played guitar in the streets for gas money. I had nothing except my little, my Ford Explorer, where I slept in the back seat and got encountered by police officers because I was sleeping in places I shouldn't, and whatever else. And I was miserable. I was so sad. I was smoking cigarettes. I was smoking pot. I was seeking comfort in this idea of isolating myself, of not having to deal with anybody else's questions, of not having to deal with anything. I just wanted to go. And honestly, I truly believe, because that is in me, because that is a part of my past, and I do speak about how past vices sneak up on us and intertwine themselves into our current lives, and that's why we need to be cautious of what we allow ourselves to delve into. Because that part of me is in there, I have zero doubt that if I was still in my 20-year-old faith, which was agnostic, God's out there, but I don't want to put him in a box. I don't want to define him. If I was still in that state, religion is what works for me, more spiritual than religious, whatever feels right. God talks to me in this way or that, hallucinations while I'm high, obviously are divine inspiration, those types of things. If I was still there, I'd probably feel like running away, because that's who I was. I can only presume, because the only thing that changed in my life from then is converting to Catholicism at 21. And life has been a night and day difference. My husband obviously also grounds me, but he is too, being a witness of God. We are both in this Catholic faith together. We both seek the Eucharist in holy states. We strive for that, and so having that foundation in our relationship, having that foundation just in general, has definitely transformed so much of who I am. It is the basis, the crux, the everything behind who I am. And as I spoke about a week ago, when God created the earth, his first words were fiat lux, let there be light. And fiat itself, that first word fiat, it means let it be done. And so when we turn to God, when we allow him to share in our hopes and dreams, to share in our aspirations, when we allow him to be a part of that with us, which is what he longs for, what he created us for, is to be in communion with us here and now in the good times and the bad. He's speaking fiat. He speaks fiat. It's his first word. It's his first word to you. Let it be done. Fruit of the Spirit. Holy Spirit, descend. Fiat. Let it be done. He is in your soul. He is waiting for you to ask him. I just cannot stress enough the substantial difference that it has made in my life. And I just pray, my deepest prayer, I say it every week, but I truly mean it, that God would just grant you the resources that you need to draw closer to him and in turn to those around you. That's my prayer for you guys every day. I want people to know God. I want them to experience his peace. I want them to have that hope. And that's what I want for you. Because I do. I love you. And I want that for you. And that's the only way I know how. That's the only thing I can offer. I can't offer anything from myself. I can only offer you God. And it's something that you have to choose. It's something that you have to, the choice is yours. It's something you have to choose, but the resource is there. And I just pray. I pray that you take it. Because he wants you to. He wants you to. I want you to. Because it's so supernatural. It's everything beyond anything that anybody can ever physically do for you. It's just encountering him in the Eucharist, encountering his body and blood. That is what he promises for us. And I just pray that you seek it today. So God bless you. Thank you for watching. I will be keeping you guys up to date on all of my health stuff as it is. My referral to Mayo got sent over today. And so I will, I'll keep you guys updated as much as I know, as far as I know. So God bless you. Thanks for joining me. And I will see you again soon.